Today's top stories at NBR: Meridian Energy counters claims it made excess profits. NZME potential deal with tech giant. Sleepyhead Estates factory secures resource consent. And there's more coming right up. Kia ora and welcome to NBR Today, a wrap of the day's top business stories from the authority in New Zealand business news since 1970, nbr.co.nz. It's Tuesday, August 24th. I'm Paul Brennan. Thanks again for joining us. Finance Minister Robertson is urging businesses facing difficulties paying GST or provisional tax, which are due this week, to approach Inland Revenue for help. Robertson told Parliament's Finance and Expenditure Select Committee this morning that the Commissioner of Inland Revenue had been given the authority to waive payments for businesses that would struggle to pay their tax obligations because of the COVID-19 lockdown. Robertson said the government would continue to support businesses through offering the wage subsidy and the resurgent support payment. By last night, $484.4 million had been paid out. Meridian Energy is countering claims by the major electricity users group that it made excess profits of $3.5 billion over the past 20 years, including $2.94 billion in the past 5 years. The country's biggest electricity supplier says the analysis lacks credibility, that industry members need to be working together through a difficult transition period rather than taking pot shots at each other. Group Chairman John Harbord said while Meridian's super profits, as calculated in the report, were not necessarily reflective of the sector as a whole, the users group was sufficiently confident that the analysis represented a robust and compelling reference for the market regulator, the Electricity Authority. He said the analysis should be extended to other suppliers. Former NZX-listed dental services group Abano Healthcare has agreed to buy up to 84% of ASX-listed competitor 1300 Smiles in a deal valuing the Australian company at about 166 million Australian. Abano, owner of the Lumino Dental Group in New Zealand and the Maven chain in Australia, was acquired by private equity firm BGH Capital and Ontario Teachers Pension Plan Board in December last year for 136 million. Its deal to buy 1300 Smiles was announced to the ASX today. A potential deal with tech giant Google over its launch of News Showcase in New Zealand by the end of the year holds the promise of payments for NZME, publisher of the New Zealand Herald. But Chief Executive Michael Boggs is warning the market not to start counting its chickens.
We look forward to discussing with both Google and Facebook arrangements in regard to accessing and supporting the editorial content that we produce.
NZME Chief Executive Michael Boggs. The results, described as very solid by Jarden Head of Research, Ari Decker, saw earnings growth, a significant reduction in net debt and the resumption of dividends after an almost 3-year pause. Vector wants to derive further value from developing power poles, tunnels, substations and other electricity assets the utilities business owns, although Auckland's Lines Company is keeping the number close to its chest. The listed company was trading 3 cents up at $4.11 a share after announcing net profit doubled to $194.6 million for the year ended June 30. In late March, Vector Property Services was established to formally explore the company's property portfolio's commercial potential and find opportunities to partner with third parties to make better use of a suite of substations, tunnels, power lines and the like. Chief Executive Simon Mackenzie said some of the assets, such as those redeveloped in the last decade, have been future-proofed for further enhancements. The $1.2 billion Sleepyhead Estates foam factory has received resource consent under the government's fast-track consenting process, bringing the manufacturing hub project one step closer to fruition. The consent for the foam factory is the first piece of the 178-hectare development being built by the Comfort Group, Australasia's largest bedding and foam manufacturer, which on completion will employ as many as 2,600 people and an 1,100-home community to house up to 3,000 residents. The development is being spearheaded by Ambry Properties, the property arm of the fourth-generation family-owned mattress business. An estimated $1 billion will be spent in and around Ohiniwai through new infrastructure, construction and development, and the project, once up and running, could pump some $200 million annually into the local economy. The full details of those stories and more are at nbr.co.nz right now. Tomorrow at NBR, National Party Economic Development and Small Business spokesperson Todd McClay on whether the government is doing enough to help businesses in lockdown. And our latest Expat Files profile is on Shane Green, a customer and employee experience consultant who's recently returned from over 20 years in the US, working with the likes of the NBA, Westfield, MGM Resorts International, Foot Locker, Cisco Systems and United Airlines on improving culture. I'm Paul Brennan. I look forward to being with you again tomorrow from around lunchtime for the morning's NBR trending stories. Then same time, same place, right here from 5:30 for another NBR Today.